Okay, I think I'm unmuted now. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for attending today. We're going to be looking at a few different handouts as we go through the program. If you're on webinar and not just audio conference, then you'll see them on your screen. We'll start with a PowerPoint, and then we've also made available to you the general guidelines for 2018, and then the addendum chapter pages, which basically show you where the adds are and the deletions or there's no changes. And then we've also, what I've done is I've created the spreadsheet for the download for the the adds, the deletions, and the revision codes. And we'll go through because I've color-coded them so you can see what applies to you versus wouldn't apply to you. So we're going to make sure that you have all your information. But there are some rule changes. There are some things that we want to highlight. There's been some additional areas which we just want to make sure that you're mindful of. They did not overload us for GI, so that was very helpful this year. I know that when we first came out with this in 2015, we were, kind of overwhelmed, and then in 2016, it was like, okay, so they're making some changes there, and now, and then 17 and going into 18, we just have some moderate things to look at. Now, one of the things to keep in mind is in October. So it's October through September. It's not the calendar year like CPT. So off a little bit, but I think it's helpful because now we can get, our training getting ready in a month for I-10, and then 3 months later we have to get ready for our 2018 codes, and we'll bring those to you in December. So we just want to make sure that we have, all of the pieces in place so that you have it on your computer should you ever need to question. The other thing that, you want to keep in mind, too, is there are also some websites out there which I'll comment on at the end, and some helpful, smartphone things that you can do as well so that you're always updated on your I-10 scenarios, because they're really being looked at right now. My background, not just as a, multiple certified coder, but also as an auditor and educator, it's interesting what, I'm seeing as, when I audit for Medicare. So what they're looking at, the code linking, and making sure that, things are captured that are documented and narratively seen either within your EMR or in your paper chart. Yes, there are offices that still are using paper charts, so believe it or not, that isn't always, everybody hasn't already switched to electronic means. So the first thing I want to look at is slide 2. So these were released on August 10th. So I know that everybody said, I know I was getting emails as far back as, May and June saying, when are you presenting this? It's out. I said, well, those are the proposals. They don't put it out until August 10th, and that's when the official coding and reporting guidelines for the 2018, they call it the fiscal year, and that's the 117-page document, the National Center for Health Statistics, and also via the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and World Health Organization. This is what they post, and we've given you a link, and we're going to give you the attachment as well. So we're going to take a look at that in just a few minutes. And I'll show you just how to scroll down. We're not going to go through the whole 117 pages. That would be silly. But we'll definitely let you know, how to look at what is updated and how to easily find something. So when you review the guidelines for this year, you want to take note of a couple things. Narrative changes will be in bold, okay? So you'll see that in bold text. Items that are underlined have been moved within the guidelines since last year's version. So it means that, you may have found it in some other place, and like, oh, shoot, where do I find this now? And it's in a different place. And then italicized areas are used to indicate revisions to the heading changes. And so if you keep those 3 bullets in mind, you're definitely going to be fine. And the other thing is make sure you read, when you read a guideline or you see something that is in there that you're thinking, that just doesn't sound right, read the whole guideline. Read the before paragraph and the after. And the reason I say that is I get these emails because I have an online email question answer service. And I get client emails and non-client all the time, and they say, did they really say this in there? And then I go to look, and I say, well, that doesn't sound right, so let me go look. And then I'll look at it, and I say, well, it sort of said that. So you'll see a blurb, and then they didn't read the entire guideline and how it relates to the encounter, the scenario that's going on. You'll see something within the guidelines that says something to the effect, and I'll paraphrase. If you're close to the diagnosis, go ahead and code for it, even if it's not specific within the chart.